Today we're going to be talking about kind of underrated authors. What do I mean by kinda? So these are authors that I think are underrated right now. Maybe they are authors from the past, maybe they are foreign authors who are really big in their country of origin, but not here in the West. So if you do know these authors, and you say, they're not underrated, I know them. I know them too. But I don't think the general population knows them either. So I'm going to be putting a couple of the books in the description down below for you to pick up from Waterstones or bookshop.org. Alternatively, pick these up from your local library. Let's get right into it. First up is Lausche. I apologize, my Chinese pronunciation is not the best, but Lausche is, I made a video on one of his books years ago, Cat Country, and I actually went on a recent buying spree, which my members will be able to see as well soon. So if you want to become a member, you can join for as little as £1 a month to check out those kind of videos. Nice little plug there. But I recently got one of his books, Mr. Ma and Son, and I've also read Tea House, which I think is many people believe to be his best work. And I've not seen Tea House, but I've read Tea House. So I think he's underrated. I really enjoyed Cat Country. It was very different. I remember at the time I'd done a lot of research into the book itself and kind of understanding his views on the book and on China and stuff. And kind of his history within China, kind of in regards to the Cultural Revolution and then kind of the post-Cultural Revolution and kind of how feelings about him have changed. I think he's a very interesting author. Again, I've only read Cat Country and Tea House being what people consider to be his magnus opus, which I enjoyed very much as well. I'm looking forward to reading Mr. Ma and Son. If you have read any Lausche, let me know in the comments down below, and also correct my pronunciation if it's incorrect too. But I really enjoyed Cat Country. I'm looking forward to reading this soon as well. Also, kind of like superficially, I really like this cover. Just like artistically, it's lovely as well. But go off and read his books, because especially like I feel like books from China are very, swept under the rug here in the West, unless it's like Wild Swans, which, or what is it, the one where he's a violin player and it's about like Tiananmen Square. That, other than that, I'm not really seeing many books from China. Also, just on a side note, if you are someone who has read books from China written, post 1949, but actually like from China, a Chinese author that is in English, I would love to read that, because I'm only really finding books written either prior to 1949 or from Chinese diaspora, which obviously it's fine to read stuff from Chinese diaspora, but I also just want to read books from within China that have been translated too. This second one might just be a British thing, but I'm going to say Maya Angelou. So if you're in the US, you're watching this, you're probably like, what do you mean Maya Angelou is underrated? Everyone knows Maya Angelou. The only thing I saw about Maya Angelou prior to reading her works was one of my English teachers had a poster of I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and which is part of my big Maya Angelou omnibus that I can't remember where I got this from, but I got it from an Oxfam for £2. That's three Maya Angelou books for £2. That's insane. But prior to actually picking up her books and having access to the internet, obviously, the only thing I ever saw was a poster for I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Maybe it's because when it came to our education and reading American literature, here in the UK, it was very narrow. You had a couple of options and maybe schools picked different things. My school, I went to two secondary schools. I read Beloved in year 7, which is very confusing because what year 7 is smart enough to be able to read that book? Even though I guess they trusted us to do it, I suppose. And then in GCSEs, I read To Kill a Mockingbird, but we never got a choice, really. Even at A-level, I don't believe I really got a choice. I did get a choice in the books, but they very much geared us towards certain books to read for some of my modules, and then didn't go to university. So I don't know if it's just me, but I don't know anyone, and I know people who've read a lot of books, who has read a Maya Angelou book. at least from the UK. I'm sure, you know, there are Americans who have read a ton of Maya Angelou, and you should. I'm pretty sure they're trying to ban Maya Angelou books, which is disgusting. If you can read Maya Angelou, you should. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings is the one I think you should read. It's a hard read, or it's a very, very difficult read. Not as in like, you know, it's difficult language, but it's like emotionally very difficult to get through. But Maya Angelou is one of those authors why I think you should read Maya Angelou. I mean, if you're as lucky as me and can get a Maya Angelou omnibus for £2, you should do that as well. But yeah, totally think you should. Again, underrated in the fact that, at least here in the UK, I don't know a lot of people who are like exposed to Maya Angelou without actually going out of their way to read her books, unless like you were one of the cases where the American literature your teacher chose was Maya Angelou as opposed to like Beloved, or as opposed to To Kill a Mockingbird. I wish I'd read like this instead of Great Gatsby. I don't think Great Gatsby is a very good book, but that's a whole other video though. Very special mention, my queen Hiromi Kawakami. I don't know if she's underrated, I just want you to go off and read her books, so you should do that. And I think finally, Walter Rodney. Listen, you're going to be like, everyone knows Walter Rodney. Yeah, but I have a very left-wing audience and a very, you know, Marxist audience, and an audience who will probably want to read these sort of texts, you know, the Walter Rodney texts. But Walter Rodney kind of feels like someone whose books should be acknowledged and read by the mainstream. You know, you do have people like, I don't know, William Dalrymple, who does get into the mainstream with his books. Obviously, Walter Rodney is slightly different. He is a, you know, a left-wing thinker. He is a philosopher, a Marxist, a revolutionary. So it's different, which is why I know he's not pushing the mainstream. But books like How Europe Underdeveloped Africa feels like it's a book that everyone should be. It's like, you know, when you go into a bookshop and they've got some of the non-fiction books facing out, this feels like a book that should be facing out, because it not only appeals to so many people, but is really important for loads of people to read. You know, even if you take out stuff like Decolonial Marxism, and there's another one which I quite like, it's got a blue cover, I can't remember the name. I know those ones aren't going to be like mainstream. They're not going to be, you know, oh, I'm going to walk into Waterstones and say, hey, that says Decolonial Marxism, I'm going to pick that up. No, of course not. You know, that's not something someone is normally going to pick up. But I walk into a Waterstones, other bookstores are available, including bookshop.org, where you can pick up these books, and a portion of the money goes to supporting local independent booksellers. I can walk into there and be like, oh, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa? That's actually a very interesting title, a very interesting book. Let me see that. Oh, I'm going to pick that up and read it. Why don't you have this on tables where people can very easily pick up this book and read it? It's a super interesting book. I get it's many decades old, of course, but, you know, I'm seeing Bill Bryson on tables, and I don't know why I have like a bone to pick with Bill Bryson. Like, I've never read one of his books, but like, I'm seeing Bill Bryson on tables, but I'm not seeing Walter Rodney. And I get it, the context is Walter Rodney is academic Marxist thinker, decolonial thinker. Bill Bryson writes fun, kooky travel and history books. Again, I don't know why I have beef with Bill Bryson. I just kind of do. Maybe it's because I had to sell so many of his books. So yeah, you should go, even if, you know, you've not read Walter Rodney. I've spoken about Walter Rodney a few times here. You should go off and read Walter Rodney books. Like I said, the one I always say to start with is I ran out of storage for my SD card. But those are some underrated authors I think you should go off and read. Like I said, obviously for the most part these are authors that are quite famous. It's just I feel like contextually, at least where I live in the UK, I'm not seeing these authors very often unless you actually go out of your way to find these authors, which is a shame, because I think all three, particularly the last two, are authors that should be like actively like, when you go to a bookstore and you see the books on the table, these are like authors that you should actually have on the tables for people to pick up and read. You know, get rid of Colleen Hoover. Get rid of, what's her name, Colleen Hoover? Naz Hoover, I don't know, the TikTok lady. Get rid of the other books that I don't like reading. Put these ones there. But thank you for watching. I do want to give a special shout out to my members. Like I said at the beginning of the video, members are going to be getting a video of a haul of secondhand books that I've bought. I just am waiting for one more to arrive. If not, I'll just make the video anyway. So members get stuff like that. They can be part of a book club. We read Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto this month, which my heart was just sad reading that book. So if you want to get involved with a book club or just get the additional videos, you can join from as little as £1 a month over on my channel or below this video. If not, thank you for getting to this point in the video. Let me know in the comments down below any underrated authors that you want to spread the word about. Also, like I asked in the Laoshi section, if you have any books from China that have been translated, having been written in China post 1949, please let me know in the comments down below as well. I kind of want to read that too. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share the video with a friend or family member, and hey, I hope you read a great book today.